on like something else now, right?
So I tried EVMux, and
Yeah.
then I'm gonna go back to Ecamm. But the reason why is EVMux is cool, but Ecamm I could do Zoom inside of school. But I can't do EVMux inside of school.
Gotcha. You're part of the crew that's like migrating everything to school, right? Like Sam
Dude,
Oven software and all that.
yeah, we could talk about that. Like I'm seeing more engagement in there. It's really cool
Really?
with less people. It's insane.
That's unexpected.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
we can have a conversation about that if you
no,
want.
we're going to talk about it now. Yeah, like, this is good shit. Okay, so I remember when school got started and it was just him pushing it. He put his courses in there. And then Cole Gordon migrated his stuff. And then I think around that time, a lot of people started migrating their stuff. While that was happening, you know what I was doing? I was getting all my shit off Kajabi into GHL. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, as soon as I move everything, everyone's onto something new. You know what I mean? So, one, your audio broke because I clicked the mute button. Is that right? There we go. Try that now. It says you're on the wrong mic or something. See if you can switch mics. Is that an option? Something unplugged. It's only fun when it happens live, everybody. There we go. Mic check, mic check.
Test, test, test.
Yeah, there we're good. We're good. Yeah.
This is so weird. I could hear you out of one ear, but it'll work.
AirPods disconnected.
You still got me?
Yeah, we got you. Okay, cool.
Okay.
And then Cruzy migrated to school. So, like, what's your experience with that type of stuff? And I think their whole jam is like Facebook's one big box of distractions, but school.com isn't. Is that right?
Yeah, so I tried, like, dude, I'm big on groups. Like, we literally grew our agency from a group that wasn't even ours. Like, I didn't even realize how we grew so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, we like literally we're doing about 100K a month, and it's all coming from this group. So, like, I was really, I didn't want to leave Facebook,
Yeah.
but I tried Mighty Networks and building a community that way, and like, people wouldn't adapt to it. And I saw it. It was clear, like, people adapted to Facebook, they're on it. And then, so I was really kind of resistant to school, but, obviously everybody's doing it. They're talking about it. So what the heck? I tried it, and to my surprise, people adapted to it. And what's really strange is the adaptability, like Mighty Networks, and don't Google it. Like, it's not worth your time. Like, you will get going down a rabbit hole, but Mighty Networks has an app and everything. I think their issue is that it's difficult for people to get on. But school is just so simple, minimalistic. And yeah, same thing. I just got everything on the GHL, got everything off Kajabi, and I'm about to put the app for the course on my phone and do all that crap. And here I am spending money on another software. Story of my life.
Yeah. So you've seen people, tribe, community, culture happier on school than a big old Facebook group, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I spend money every day getting people into a Facebook group, and it's super important. But yeah, like, I'm noticing that less people in school group are interacting, because my group's probably about 2,500. And within launching a week, I have about 150 people on school.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding is they're just more engaging in there. Like, people fill out the survey. Everybody introduces themselves for the most part. Like, I would say a good 30% of people versus 10 to 8% of people introducing themselves. So it's really interesting.
That's the opposite of what I would have expected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting. Well,
it's so minimalistic.
I'm going to put that in the back burner and say, like, all right, maybe Q3 or something like that. But hey, man, you ready to get this party started? We'll do an interview and all that jazz.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. For everybody who's brand new, this is Joshua F. Centers. Joshua Centers has been the ups and downs left and right of the agency journey. Isn't that right? Like, it's been, yeah, man.
I was the poster child of not getting anywhere. And I remember I would call you frantically at times, like, dude, I think I got a deal. Oh, but it's flopping. Yeah, man. It was rough for a while.
I think the first year or 2 years of every agency journey is like that freshman, sophomore.
Yeah.
Is just, it's flustering, right?
Very much so.
Yeah. And what I would like you to do is talk about that attic, like where you were, because you were recently married, kid, father-in-law, like everything that could do to crush a man, right?
Yeah.
Like, so let's go back to
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Let's go
Okay.
back to those
So
feelings.
I'm gonna have to start from the beginning and give some context to it. So like I'll kind of give you, because it was a sequence of events. So my whole life, just like everybody else, like I struggled in school. I was a black sheep, and I realized like by the time I made it to high school, like every year I'd literally get threatened like you're gonna get held back this year. You're gonna get held back this year.
Yep.
And at 18 years old, like as a junior, like I literally dropped out because I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be 20 years. Like seriously, I just
Yeah.
hated school. So going back like probably 10 years, I was 18, always wanted to own my own business. So I decided to join the army
Yep.
as part of the surge because like I need to work on me. I need to get set up. And if I'm ever going to, own a business, like I have to have a bulletproof mindset.
Yep.
So I remember like I was working and I was living like with some friends going over really quick. And I went home and I'm like, Dad, because my dad's like, if you move back in, you're towing the line. I'm like, I'm going to join the army. So I moved back home
I ain't moving
and
back home.
yeah, I had to do it. And what was really interesting is like I failed school my entire life. Like they literally thought I almost got put in one of those classes.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, crap, I got to take my GED to be able to join the army. And so I'm like, dude, I suck at school. So I call them up, I go to take my GED, and they're like, we are literally closing the doors tomorrow. So if you want to take it, you have to come tomorrow. I had no time to study.
Yeah.
Literally took the GED in 8 hours. And I put no more intention in it than I did with school. So I don't know how the hell I passed it, but I did. Next thing I know, I'm in the army. I'm shipping off to basic training to become an infantryman. Get out of that. And then I'm going to my unit and whatnot. So I ended up deploying, getting blown up by IEDs and all that stuff. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I lost sight of like what I wanted to do, like owning a business and all that stuff. We get caught up in the moment being young. And so those moments I'm very thankful for because it kept me, thinking about what are you going to do with your life when you get out. Like, so ended up getting out. Thankfully, I met my amazing wife. She was just super supportive, super helpful. And I always had this like idea of like wanting to make $10,000 a month.
Yep.
And it was like very, very fitting for this like industry because it's like everybody talks about it. And I met my wife. We got married really quick, had a kid, absolutely love her, love of my life. And I decided to get into sales. Nothing ever worked out.
Yep.
And then my father-in-law sold insurance. And I was like, cool, this is the first thing I could do. Like, cause I heard you could own your own business by selling insurance.
Yeah.
So dude, it wasn't that I wasn't good at selling, but I sucked at selling insurance because I didn't care about it. I didn't like it. And we were in California at the time. So we were thinking about moving to South Carolina where her father lived. So we would literally travel like back from California and going to South Carolina to visit because we wanted to move out there. And we would have to stay in his attic. Like he lived like above a barn and then like we were in this attic area. So it was like super, super embarrassing. Every time we had a conversation, it was like, everybody's like, how's business? And it's like, same old, same old.
All right. Just in the attic, just getting there.
And to what I didn't talk about is as selling the insurance, I came across this Dan Henry webinar. That's where me and Jeff Miller met. And I knew what I wanted to do at that point. I'm like, holy crap, this is my opportunity. This is the gold rush for me. And the reason why because literally I was looking for an opportunity my entire like adult life to start a business. I was thinking about franchising like for tire stores and Big O and stuff like that. Yeah. So Facebook ads came along and this is why it clicked to me. I'm kind of into marketing and techie stuff. I knew nothing about it at the time. And when we watched the webinar, I was just sold on the opportunity. It's new. Nobody else is doing it. You don't need a degree and I could probably do something. What I didn't realize is how effing hard it would be.
Perfect webinar.
I remember I told my wife, babe, 90 days we're making 10K.
Yeah.
It took 2.5 years to consistently do that. But when I did it, like we ended up doing $40,000 in a period of 90 days. We were at 40K a month in a period of 90 days. But yeah, it took 2.5 years. So I think it was insane.
It took 3 months of me doing it the wrong way before I finally got my first sale. And those 90 days are probably the worst drudgery of frustration of like, I think I'm doing everything right, but I know I'm doing it wrong, but it's not working. and every insecurity and unsurety,
Oh yeah.
and it all gets reflected back at you really darn fast. So during those first 90 days, like, were you just doing what I was doing, which is running around town saying Facebook ads are the best thing
Yeah.
on the planet, you should buy my stuff type of thing?
Yeah, aside from like crazy shiny object syndrome and like every funnel builder thing, and that's the problem. I'll hit that. But yeah, dude, um, I was sending and it worked. I was getting clients. Like I was sending Loom videos, and then I remember I had a tough conversation with my wife, and like things weren't working, and I like it was one of the backs against the wall moment. I'm like I'm gonna go on Fiverr or whatever it's called, and like I literally found a client for the next day and they paid me like 2K for an hour and then they became a client. But what's so funny about that is I literally told my wife, like quoted Russell Brunson, I'm like, babe, it just takes like one
One
client.
funnel away.
And literally the next day it happened. And then it didn't happen for a long time. But yeah, I was Loom videos going out, cold email. And luckily I just started cold calling and I ended up getting a few clients that way, got three,
Mhm.
and then nothing happened. Like they wouldn't get results. Come to find out, the one guy, he's like, "Oh yeah, I've never gotten results with anybody." And it'd been like, that would be nice to know. And it started off great. It started off great because he had a lead in within the first $5, and it was like a 90-cent lead, and never got a lead after that. So
Yeah.
I thought like, so yeah, it was a rough start.
The first real client I had was Dr. Cohen, and he was a friend of mine. And he responded to my curious student. I was like, all right, let's give this a try. And I set up the tech back when it had to be Zapier, Active Campaign, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And I remember having such anxiety and trepidation and unsurety about spending someone else's $10.
Yeah.
Like, it was the worst thing in the world. Like, I was just, no, this can't be right. I think I was afraid of failure as much as I was afraid of success. Like, hey, man, if it works, holy shit. And it's almost like it would be more comfortable if it didn't work. Like, at least I knew what that feeling was like. And then we turned it on. I must have tested it a million times. I go to sleep, I wake up, and there's 3 text messages, like name, number, and email you got to leave. It was like, holy crap. That blew my mind, right?
Yeah.
And it took him, I would say, 2 weeks or so of 3 to 5 leads a day before somebody came and bought his stuff. And that moment was forever cemented in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Just like your 2K from Upwork. Like, that became a bookmark of my journey.
Yeah.
Cohen Chiropractic got a sale, and I've built my entire identity like around that, of like trying to repeat those moments. And I'll tell you what, man, it's been one hell of a fucking journey. And you get this, right? Like, I wouldn't trade it anything for the world, but I also wish it was smoother.
Yes, absolutely. No. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah. So you're running insurance or you're trying to own your business, insurance, father's attic. You get the course same way I do, and you got your first sale, kind of works, doesn't work.
Yep.
And then something somewhere happens.
Yep.
Flash forward a year and a half later, you're running an agency that's profitable.
Yep.
95% semi-automated or automatic.
Yeah.
Flash forward, what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I can literally tell like everybody, like my biggest mistake was like I took action, but I took action like in the wrong direction. Like get rid of like the shiny objects. Like you don't need to look at Kartra, ClickFunnels. Like first of all, just stick to GHL, great funnel builder. But what was going on is when I was selling insurance, like I was trying to get clients still, I loved it. And I was so thankful about the Army because we would thrive in chaos. Like we when we were deployed, like we were supposed to go home and I was on ad bond. We had like the most deaths and all this crap. And they're like, oh, like a week before going home, you're getting extended for like 2 or 3 months or whatever. So the training and mindset allowed me to like just never break and keep going at it. But got the first client, did great, literally got them 101x ROI. I remember posting in the group about it and I was super jazzed, super pumped. Had some CrossFit clients. They weren't really going anywhere. And I just started trying to get more clients from there. And I honestly like started getting more people, but it didn't like work out as well. And so I was still selling insurance and all that stuff. And I remember I got to the point where it's like, I've been doing this a long time, and thank God for you and Andrew and Nick Robbins, because like I knew it was possible because of you guys. And I remember like I started to think it was like BS.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did Dan did Dan like pay these guys? Because this is like really difficult. But I'm like, we've talked so many times, like
Yeah.
there's no way this is possible. So I remember I was talking to Martin. I'm gonna butcher his name. I think it was like Razuska in here. He
Yeah, I
like lived down the
remember.
road when I moved to Miami, and I chose this. Literally, I chose this. I was like, every client I get, I'm getting them leads, and they're all in different niches. I'm getting good at my craft,
Hmm.
and it was my daughter's third birthday. We had moved across the country because my wife had to support us full time while I went through this dream, and she was in the Air Force, and we moved to Georgia because we wanted to get to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And I finally got here. I've been doing this for a while, and I remember telling Martin, I'm like, dude, I'm hitting 10K in the next 30 days. Hell or high water, I'm doing it. And funny enough, why I think I became successful is because I just took action. I did not stop. It took me longer than everybody else, but it made, the juice worth the squeeze. And I hit 10K. I found somebody on a post, and they're like, hey, I need help with this funnel. What do you know? I built it, killed it. They're like, hey, we have this other thing. And I built that too. And then I started getting people to prepay in it, and it went gangbusters. And
I remember you come into our office talking about prepayment. I was like, that's the fucking dream, man. That's like the perfect offer, the perfect result. You're getting paid for a performance. Everybody's happy. It's an easy yes. And I remember before you talked about that, I had this identity or predisposition of like, there's no way anybody would. But I'm like, I buy shit on the internet all the time. Why wouldn't it not work?
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah. No, that's the attitude you have to have. And like we bring in like daily, our offer is so good. Like yesterday we did like 2,300 with one account, and we have a couple others. So like it's absolutely amazing because you can make your offer super sweet. I might talk about that at the end, but I was ashamed to go home. I felt like a failure. But thank God for that Army mindset. My wife was so supportive. Literally, she was perfect. And it's actually our 7-year anniversary today. We've been married, and she stuck with me, and it was tough, man. But we had to go back home. I hadn't been home for a long time. Daughter's third birthday. We literally didn't have money to get her a cake, present, or anything. We only had plane tickets because we used our tax refund money to get it.
That'll hurt.
We got on the plane. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Got to California. By the time I got to California, I'd made $6,000 that month. It was October 2019.
Yeah.
A couple days later, I hit 10 grand. When I got to California, I bought my daughter the most expensive cake. It was from a baker named Frank Diltz. He's been on like Cake Boss and all this show. I remember on the plane looking at my phone.
Yep.
And I just like showed my wife, and I'm like, and she's like, you made it. Like, we made it.
Yep.
And then COVID happened, and that was trying.
You can't win.
Test me. Oh.
What is the universe just testing all of us all the time? Like,
yeah, we ended up making a lot of money through COVID anyway, thank God. But yeah, man, it was a journey. So that's, I don't take for granted the journey. And when I tell people, when you look, whether you're an agency owner or you have some type of, knowledge that you sell as a consultant, like this is hard. This is hard work. You literally have to, you have to try hard to make this work.
So do you think that the advertising, the culture of like, it's so easy to marketing agency is attracting like crash and burn overnight, like not really invested type of thing? Like contrast that type of communication versus you want to be a plastic surgeon, prepare for 10 years of medical school.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because I mean, that's marketing, you know what I mean? In like my messaging, I do make it look easy and seem easy, but I'm very upfront about it, like with my content and like people like coming. But like, getting into this, listening to Russell Brunson speak, I literally think he's the best marketer in the world. But I'll literally and this is what got me like really obsessed with marketing and breaking it down to principle. The reason why ClickFunnels, in my opinion, took off and this whole, thing took off is because people literally felt that funnels were the way to grow a business. They thought if you made a funnel and slapped whatever the hell you wanted on it, that business would grow. And I remember it took me 9 months to figure that out, literally. And I'm like, I built this beautiful funnel, beautiful chatbot, and then I run ads to it and it's not working, like,
Why don't
excuse
people
me.
like my stuff? What's wrong with
Yeah.
you? It's
So
perfect.
then I realized after, and I worked every Saturday for a year. I remember telling my wife, I'm gonna work every Saturday. It was actually 2 years, unless we were like traveling or whatever. But I remember, and again, it took 2.5 years. I was watching something about marketing, learning, and it clicked.
Mhm.
Everything clicked. In that instant, it was Todd Brown talking about big idea.
Yeah.
And I realized at that point that it's not the funnels. It's literally the content, offer, whatever you're using to attract,
Yep.
to amplify that desire. You cannot pull money out of thin air. If there's not a desire in the market for it, good luck making money.
Yeah.
And that's where the funnels do a really good job marketing, but sometimes it can send the wrong message. But again, like, that's good marketing. So you're gonna
So
get
is that
people.
like a like when you're saying you have to have like Todd Brown style, like you have to be in a market that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of people will accidentally be in a market that doesn't make sense? Like hasn't here's an example. I do chiropractors, right?
Mhm.
Let's just take that as a sentence. I do chiropractors. I'm trying to advertise chiropractors. Oh my God, this other guy over there, he's doing
Yeah.
chiropractors too. He's making a lot of money. Is
Yeah.
not working for me. Like that's what
Me.
we're talking
Yeah.
about, right?
Well, like, yeah, exactly. Well, so in a sense, in the market I'm in, body contouring, right? It's a
Yeah.
very desirable niche. Um, so like I have, well, see, at the time, like 2 point, I really felt like I had a level 7 skill set,
Yeah.
but I had a level 10 opportunity.
I love that
Starting, I had a
sentence, by
level
the way.
one. Yeah, I got it from you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I started having a level 1 skill set in a level 1 opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, and so like by taking, and this will break it down for you guys, by taking action over and over and over, guys, I built my skill set up. But even if I had a level 1 skill set, if I would have found my niche that I was in, it was still a level 10 opportunity and I
Yeah.
would have made more money. And I know for a fact, and my partner, Jeff Lopez, some of you may know him, he started after me,
Yep.
didn't know half the stuff I knew, and he was in a level 10 opportunity.
Yep.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but
So the cool part about that sentence is it very validates this like, hey man, you are good at your job. You just happen to be in a shitty spot. Like, hey,
yeah,
you're a great actor. You need to move to LA. Hey,
exactly.
you're really really good at software and you're really good at programming. You're just doing it in COBOL instead
Yep.
of Python, right? And for somebody who is starting out their journey, that is often a sentence that is not said enough. Like, hey man, you are good at this. You've been doing it for a year
Yep.
and a half. You know, we just got to work. You got to work for a different company.
Yep.
That is almost like a relieving realization of like it's going to be okay. You just got to hunt a different animal. And for
Yep.
you, it seems like you had that level 7, level 10 skill set, but you were
Yep.
focusing entirely on a market that was moving in the wrong direction, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. 100%. And then, and I am so lucky in life, like literally so lucky. Like I definitely had a rough life.
Yep.
A lot of bad stuff happened. My mom was literally kidnapped when I was like 9 years old. Went through a lot of stuff. But looking back, like the army and everything, like it
Yeah.
set me up to be able to take that beating mindset. And the reason why I say I'm lucky is because I found the right woman that supported me, which is
Yep.
huge. Most women be like, go get a 9 to 5 job, whatever, blah
Yep.
blah blah. And then second, I was able to develop and build a skill set, and I actually love marketing.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it. I've done it now. We've done it with different niches. I have joint ventures and partnerships now. Just made another one from a guy from Ink Master,
I remember. Yeah.
who we literally launched already making money. And it was so funny. I told him, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have you make one post, and I guarantee you, it's gonna be profitable. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna make money off of that. So my point being is like when you identify and you love the niche that you're in, you love the product that you're in, and when you identify the principles of how marketing really works,
Yeah.
things actually get really easy.
So in phase 1 of your journey, you were trying to figure it all out. You were building your skill set. You weren't in a great opportunity. Now
Yep.
you brought that skill set to a great opportunity. And can we talk about that second sentence of like creating a profitable agency, having it most of
Mm-hmm.
it automated? Like, what does that look like? like from the step 1, step 4, step 5 mechanism point of view. So like for me, as an example, like I'll just go to market, put a stupid ad on Canva, say, hey, this is what we do. This is the price. They call me, they pay me money, and we set up in 30 minutes, peace out. We'll just run this shit forever. Right. So that's how I make my agency profitable and make it mostly automatic. You have a totally different way of working. I think you're using like low ticket offers and groups, all that. So like, what does that look like for you in your business?
Yeah. So for agency, and I'll talk about the other consulting side of stuff. So for the agency, what's really interesting, and I didn't realize this, and this is how I developed the system that I have now, but we use power partners, right?
Yep.
And what we did is we infiltrated, and I didn't know this at the time, but we infiltrated a very large association, which, John Loger talks about the first thing, and I never understood how powerful it was. But we got into an association and we built like a referral system, right? And I'll talk about like the client getting ads and stuff and whatnot, but that referral system fed us throughout time. And then what Jeff did, which is really amazing, is he made a deal with the distributor where all of our clients come from. So now we get front end profit or back end profit on a very big offer. So now we have this ecosystem of clients that we don't necessarily have to use to run ads per se. So aside from that, like the client getting side, like that's literally automated. And I feel like that's like super, super advanced, may not be like the best example because it's kind of difficult to do. But on the automation side, bringing a VA, do you want me to kind of like talk about that, or is there something specific? I just want to make sure.
Whatever you think is like in your jam.
Yeah.
Because like that's totally kosher.
Yeah. Yeah. So specifically, if you're doing paid ads, right? And I guess I'll kind of hit on this really quick. It's my personal professional opinion. Like, I believe there are bad leads, right? I do think there are people out there that are not a good fit. I do think there are people out there that put in BS information. But I also I strongly feel the reason why our marketing works, the reason why we get clients for our agency is because we have a message that's very clear. We solve a problem that they want solved right away, and we offer something different than anybody else. Now, whether we use that message organically to have our clients bring in customers first, or whether we run paid ads to it, we're going to get customers either way.
That's like the core of what you need to figure out to have a profitable automatic agency. Like, hey man, I'm talking clearly. This is what you want. It's unique and different. And all of a sudden, like, it doesn't matter almost like the A/B test that you run or the colors on your Canva ads, or like your funnels could have typos, and everybody's like, no, man, I know 100%. What you're selling. I want to buy it. And it's let's go.
Yeah. And I showed you the super ugly funnel that generated over $1 million in revenue. Like, it was the ugliest. And it was so funny when I met Jeff, like, and he's like, this is the funnel you're using? He's like, it was just hilarious. And we'll use it like time to time when we switch it. But so the point where I'm getting at is, like, doesn't matter if it's organic, doesn't matter if it's paid traffic, you have to have a clear message. And the biggest thing that I've learned from the consulting side too is, like, I wasn't clear. So like when I built my second business, I did it in half the time, but it took me a long time, but I was not clear on my message. I did not have my big idea in order, and I had to like find your voice. You guys that are starting an agency, you have to find your voice. You have to find the niche that you love and you're passionate about. You have to find that angle that you want to come in at, that's going to be giving you a level 10 opportunity, even if you have a level 1 skill set. Whereas going with the lead thing with paid ads, right? And again, this is just my personal opinion. A lot of people say ads suck, blah, blah, blah. I think, again, people will put in bad numbers. I think people are not a good fit. But what I don't believe specifically is if I use a Facebook lead form versus a funnel, and you tell me that the leads suck, and they put in their name, they put in their phone number, they put in their email, they showed interest, they clicked on it to put in anyway, and then they're taking action on the button after that and coming in, and then you're going to tell me that they're going to join a group, answer questions, and go through content. You're going to tell me that that person is a bad fit? No, that person is not a bad fit. It's, unfortunately, your messaging is not clear. There's not a level 10 desire, and you can't see because you have a level 1 skill set and you need to work on
Oh,
building up that level 1.
oh, that's an interesting take. You can't see it because you don't have the skills to see the problem.
Yes, sir.
You can't see the solution because you don't have the skills. It's like the car doesn't work. This car sucks. No, man.
Yes.
You need to like read the manual a couple times, dive into the engine, and all of a sudden you realize the car could work or does. Just something is like small fix.
And exactly. And I'll give an example. So we were developing ourselves in the agency world like the last 2 years. And what's really cool is Jeff Lopez, dude, most amazing partner ever. He makes my life so simple because I can just work on the ads. But he, content is everything. So you get the lead, you attract the lead. And I'll just kind of go into this. Like, this is, again, my belief. Like, you could pay a crap ton of money for a webinar registration and get somebody in that may or may not even book a call. And if you have the money to do it, go do it. Like, absolutely. We ran ads to a VSL and it would cost us $338 to generate an appointment. And the product we sold was much more expensive. You could do that. But if you look at the goal, and this might blow some of your minds, when you have the VSL, you have a webinar, whatever you want to call it, what's the goal? The goal is to get them to consume the content so they can get nurtured to a buying decision, right? And when you go that route, you're just going to end up spending more money. I would say for a webinar, personally, unless you're super, super good, you're probably going to spend anywhere between 5, 10K in ads and maybe 15 to figure that part out. Well, if the goal is to get name, phone number, and email, I have this anti-guaranteed boring offer that I like to use because I get name, phone number, and email.
Yeah.
And then thanks to Jeff Miller teaching me about thank you offers, which I always use in every piece of marketing.
Those are so cool. So good.
Yep. I get them to come in from a lead magnet. I pay typically under $5 for a lead. 40% of them take the bait and join the group. And again, if the goal was to get them to opt in to consume content, to get them to a buying decision, would you rather pay $300 or $150, whatever that is, to get a lead nurtured, or would you rather pay a lower cost and just dangle some carrots in front of them and get them to consume the content that way? That's the way I like it.
Yeah.
And so I choose to generate leads that way right now and get them to and that's the point. All you have to do is get them to consume the content. If your content sucks, they're not going to consume it. You need to figure out what that level 10 problem desire is and start working on your skill set and trying to figure that part out until you get it.
So do you find that some people will spend their agency marketing career with stuff that isn't in huge demand, stuff that isn't in huge desire, stuff that isn't like different and unique? Like, they haven't spent their time making their product, right? They haven't figured out the cool thing. Instead, they'll focus on the small 1% of like, hey, we got to have like that really hot 2-second intro and catch the attention and optimize for like, they get lost in the 1% of the tech instead of focusing on the infrastructure and the formula and the foundations that make great business. Do you find that's the case with some people or most people?
Yeah. You're just following everybody else. And like, dude, every time we come out with a new funnel, like literally, we were just talking about this yesterday. Somebody just literally copied our funnel, like everything to the T. And it's complimenting. Like, we don't even get mad. I know who it is too. Like, I'm not even mad. Like, I get it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So take it as a compliment. Yeah. But like and see, that's the thing. That's the difference. I know my skill set and I know where to look for the desires and I know how to amplify the desires. And when you get to that level, like you yourself, Jeff, like, very well, like, I know if I do this thing, it's most likely going to make money. And I know if it doesn't, I'll be able to figure out how to get it there. And, like I said, you gotta, if you don't have a level 1 skill set, like, first of all, or if you have a level 1, like, figure out how to build that skill set. And if you're like, hey, none of this stuff makes sense to me, what's a level 10 opportunity? Go try to find a problem that's different than what everybody else is offering and try to solve that.
So
which I know you did.
So is that where, like, tying in, like, my USP for a while was like live transfers. Hey, we'll call everybody back, get them on the phone. Yes. So that's like a different, unique product or communication, right? Like, if that was in demand, and I know that, well, going back, what happened is I asked 30 dentists, like, what do you want? Like, grab them by the tongue, what you want. Yeah. And how much do you want to pay for it? And then I just built it, right? So I knew the product worked, and it almost didn't matter, like, That's why my
Yeah.
ads worked with no fucking text. Okay. This is what you
Yep.
want. That's it. And a discussion, right? So do you
Yep.
find that some people struggle bus with the figuring it out thing? Like it can't just be as simple as
Oh
saying
yeah.
leads versus appointments, 2x
Yeah.
ROI or risk reversal, blah, blah, blah. Like what you're trying to
Yep.
do is make a undesirable product
Yeah.
sound and look
It's not gonna
better when you
work.
should be focused on a desirable product, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And like totally. And that's why like a lot of people that join this movement try to make this into a business. It doesn't work because they can never see the forest from the trees.
Yeah.
They don't have the skill set to understand. They're like, well, everybody else is doing it and it's working for. Well, that's because they got the market share by now,
Yeah.
and they were ahead of you a little bit. And you're fighting for that market share, but it ain't gonna work because it's the same old like type of thing. Um, and they're gonna have that struggle until, and again, thankfully for me, one day it clicked, and I'm like, holy crap, I get it, I get how this works. And even till the day, like you know, I've been doing pretty good on our other companies and making stuff happen. And I made one like little change, and I still learned. Like I'm like, holy crap, I didn't even see this. Like, what was I thinking? Oh my God, like I should have done this a long time ago. So I still like learn myself. And I mean, you got to be willing to learn, and, you know, constantly trying to figure out like what the next angle, what the next problem,
Yeah.
and where you can take the market from there to be more successful.
So is that like a deep dive and read all the books about a product market industry? Is that a talk with 30 people and do custom research? Like if I'm
Yeah.
sitting there going, I'm trying to get obsessed with client getting systems. I don't think my product is desired. I'm trying
Yeah.
to optimize for a small thing. Like, how do I figure out,
Yep.
like, I don't want to say the next big thing, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I will make a really good example of Jeff Lopez. God, what was it? It was right. I was in Myron Golden's inner circle. I think it was like 2021. We were coming out with like some new offers and whatnot, and we decided to go separately on these two offers. And I thought for sure, like I had it in the bag, because I saw how important groups were and how we grew. I'm like, oh, we need groups this specific way. And it was so funny. So I was wrong. Jeff made a banger offer, and he made a sales academy.
Yeah.
And what was hilarious is like, I'm going to be different than everybody else. I'm going to partner on rev share, and I'm going to help him sell this stuff. And what's funny is we're actually implementing this now. But that's Jeff did like over like 200K in a 2-week period.
Yeah.
And I could have made a lot of that had I just, so it's, you know, we joke about it all the time. I'm like, yep, I should have, but that's my point.
Yeah.
He talked to the audience. He figured out where they were failing. He identified a level 10 problem, level 10 desire, and he helped them tremendously. So you absolutely need to be talking to your people. And the crazy part is mine sold for less, and he sold more. And there was a couple people that I let in on it, and they weren't showing up. They weren't taking action on that. It was so funny because I was in Myron's program, and it's all about that. And Jeff was like, yeah, it's probably because what you're charging, it's like, you got to make it hurt. And I was like, that's right, because they were not paying attention. So he made this like really good product, talked to the audience, and I made the mistake of kind of assuming, what they wanted. However, what's really cool now is now we have evolved to the point where we are going to start doing things for them in masses. So now we can actually develop that product. Whereas we weren't there a year ago. We didn't need it. We first needed to fix the sales problem they had internally to get them here, because they never would have been able to have the time, effort, energy to put into the group thing because they can't do it.
It sounds like you're constantly doing good old-fashioned business sense of customer research. Hey, what's your $1 million problem? Cool. On a scale of 0 out of 10, how much do you want to solve this? Is this something you're worth paying for? That's it. Is that about right? Those are the big three. Just figure that out and you're
easy
good.
Peasy. Literally.
Very interesting. So in the let's apply that to I'm the chiropractor, right? Or I'm a Facebook ad agency for chiropractors. Cool. I'm running ads saying, hey, chiropractors, get 15 appointments or your money back guarantee times 2x ROI plus $100 waste, like that type of crap. I'm optimizing for something that isn't desired, right? I
Yep.
go to ChiroCon and I ask them, what's your $1 million problem?
Yep.
How much do you want on a scale 0 to 10? How much do you want to solve this? And are you willing to pay for it? Maybe it turns out the problem isn't getting more appointments and isn't getting them to show. Maybe the problem is I cannot for the life of me find anyone to hire at my front desk that's worth the time and effort. What I'm hearing from you is I should go to market with that, saying, hey,
Yep.
chiropractors, we will help you find, source, and retain front desk and treatment coordinators so that you can grow. Is that the right line of thinking here?
Yeah, absolutely. If the bottleneck is identified that they don't have quality people to even do the things that we recommend, like we give them the blueprint, we give them the scripts, and they can't do that. And this is a common theme across the board.
Yeah.
And the cool part is a lot of the times they can't even see that. And to tie this into who's doing it, and I guarantee you this would be a badass offer, but I guarantee you a lot of people won't do it because they don't think it's possible. If you look at Adam Chambers, he basically sells placements for a boatload of money in the medical industry. Could you imagine if you were placing the right people that actually knew how to set appointments and sell?
Yep.
Like,
that's probably,
I guarantee you,
more desired than having an agency
absolutely
do the appointment, the selling.
Right.
Interesting. Okay,
Yep,
so like in your journey, you're constantly solving the next problem. Very IC10 of just solve the next problem. That's it, right? So chiropractor agency, appointment's not working. Hey, you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna source, hire, and train your front desk. They can appoint more, your treatment coordinator, all that stuff. We got a hiring academy. Cool, let's do it. What do you think the next problem would be for that business? Now they got the people in the right spot, right? Like,
yeah.
What do you think that next problem for the next business challenge would happen to be?
I would say keeping them accountable and making sure they continue to have that level 10 skill set.
Gotcha.
And they don't lose it.
So now we're talking like re-education and retraining, keeping your staff on point.
Done for you. Yep. Or possibly done with you.
And then ads kick in, or then appointments kick in, or maybe not even then. Maybe it's now, here's how you increase your margins by negotiating with your suppliers. Here's how you rework your office to increase throughput. Once a business has gone through that, then we're talking ads. Here's what's interesting, and here's like my overall philosophy. Out of like 100% of businesses, maybe only the top 10% are actually good fit for advertising and marketing and getting people in the door. The remaining 90% have structural business problems that need to be solved beforehand. Yep. So if I, the astute offer owner, and I'm obsessed about client getting systems, and I'm looking for the next big thing to solve, and I'm actually deeply motivated by solving problems, I'm not running into a market saying, yo, buy my stuff like you and I started, right? I'm going into market saying, what's your $1 million problem?
Yep.
On a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you really want to solve this? Are you willing to pay for it? And I can apply all those tools, all those books, all those learnings to solving the next problem. Do you think it's impossible to do some of these things? Like there's no way anyone could do recruiting as an offer or management as an offer. It's doable, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The crazy part is, 100%. And then the cool thing, like I have a few clients that I do this with, is I think it's called like consultative with equity or whatever, where like I still get paid a fee, but like I also get like equity. So here's my point. If you're building the ads and then you're building the team, you're getting damn near close to building the company.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you get paid more for that and get some equity? So, I mean, you could really do a lot with a little down the road. So it is pretty darn cool. So if you get to that level, like absolutely, you just have to look at the problems that you're going to solve for people based on what their needs are from talking to them, like you said, and follow that road.
This is such an interesting realization, and I hope everybody watching it like makes that connection. Like, just because it says ads doesn't necessarily mean you're doing ads. Ads is just your foot in the door to have a conversation about their deeper business problem. Just like if you're an ophthalmologist, right? Like, how weird is it if an ophthalmologist runs up to you and says, "Let me fix your eyes"? You're like, dude, let's have a conversation first. Like what's going on? But that's how you and I started. We're just like running around town saying, "Buy my ads." And now,
yes. Yeah, and we learned that like, oh crap, that's not like a level 10 problem desire.
Yeah.
but that's my level 1 skill set. That's where I'm at. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But we got to, I I still feel I probably like at a level 7 skill set.
Same.
But what's weird is I know a lot about everything, so it's crazy how that stuff works. I could any challenge appears like I'm pretty much ready to take it on.
So cool, right? What a transformation. We're on the last bullet point now, which is like the offer launch formula. And the bullet point
Mhm.
reads, mastering the formula that gets leads and sales without crazy offers, guarantees, or risk reversals. And let me premise this, which is I went fully against the grain probably a year and a half or 2 years ago. And I was seeing a whole bunch of people say, hey, bathroom renovation companies, we'll get you 30 quotes guaranteed, or we'll 2x ROI or $100 off, or refund you $3,500. And I got just so frustrated with it because we were running those ads and we were
Yeah.
running those offers. And it felt like the people that said yes, I had to pull teeth to bring them in. They're always halfway out, always doing, hey, you only got 29 out of 30. I want my money back. I'm like, this is not really the relationship I'm looking for. And
Right.
I just took the blinders off and I was like, Apple is not running ads saying, buy my laptop, and if you hate it, I'll give you $100 off for wasting your time. They don't say that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
They all have refund policies, but they're not out in front saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and bribe you into buying my stuff, knowing that I'm going to tempt you to return and refund.
Yep.
Apple doesn't say, hey, if it's too hard to use, you can refund. They don't fucking say that. Like, it's up to you to
Yep.
figure it out, right? So you did a similar transition. I was hoping you could talk about like your OLF and what that means and all that jazz.
Yep. So I got obsessed. It's crazy. You learn a lot from like building businesses and when one works and one doesn't. So like I was saying in the beginning, like everybody talks about webinars and VSLs, and look, like we've done it. Like, and it costs typically a lot of money, and you have to have that level 10 skill set.
Yep.
So this is for the people that don't have that level 10 skill set. You could build something front end that is just valuable, a checklist, a framework to accomplish. Here's how to run ads for chiropractors, cheat sheet, whatever, like literally something of value. And you lead with that. So the offer launch formula, I literally studied like clients and community, product launch formula, which like, I don't know if you know who Jeff Walker is, OG.
Yep.
And offer launch formula, offer launch sequence. What I realized, and given where credit's due, is a lot of this stuff is actually stemmed from what Jeff Walker has been doing over the years. And for those of you that don't know what the sideways sales letter is, I'll probably blow your minds here for some of you, but a sideways sales letter is nothing more than 3 videos in a sequence delivered to people typically over a few days. That's why you take a sales letter, throw it on that slide. Yeah. So all these marketing, systems are, based off of principles that worked before. So I wanted to figure out how to get people in. Like I wanted to reject the idea that bad leads would come from lead forums. Mm-hmm. So to keep this short, I was about to build a funnel to get people into my group, and I was modeling a really good company that had a really good track record. Yeah. And they said it was normal for like $15 to $22 leads. That didn't sit right with me. Like I really felt internally as a marketer, like I could do better. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to kind of do what Jeff Miller does. I'm just going to have like a little Canva offer. Yep. Take this thing. No guarantee.
That, by the way, to step out of character for a second, that works because we know what they want. It's highly desired.
Yes.
We're not like putting shit on the wall and saying, good luck. Like, no, you want this. And so it doesn't even matter how you're communicating it as long as it's communicated.
I had a proof of concept organically on the thing that I used first. It was a Facebook ads checklist.
Yeah.
And I threw it up and thank you offer. So I said, hey, if you want the video walkthrough of this thing, click here. Step 1, join my group, look out for an email, watch the video.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's probably not going to work. But I don't want to spend 4 hours building this stupid funnel that looks super old, but help me. Yeah. So I woke up the next morning, and to my surprise, I about crap my pants. And I don't know why I was surprised. I should have expected it, but I had like 20 leads in for like $1. And to even more of my surprise, I had about 40 to 50% of them join my group.
Interesting.
And so that birthed the idea of, holy crap. And then, so what I was getting is they were clicking, they were opting in, and they were filling out the form on the group saying that this is the problem I had. I'm either a newbie or a professional. And
Mm.
then I want the next training that you're offering me in the question. Because then the question would be like, hey, do you want the training that shows you X, Y, Z? And they
So
would
at
opt in.
this point, they've gone through like 12 steps.
Yes. So, and you're
Yeah.
going to tell me that they're a bad fit. And that's where I like took my own ego out of it because
Yeah.
here's the other thing. I didn't have an offer for the other company at the point in time. I'm like, I want to build an audience. I'm using one business to build the other. I just want to build an audience. I don't care, whatever. And I did that for about 14 months.
Hmm.
And I learned from them. I figured out like what they wanted specifically. And then I made things better and better and better over time. And there was a point where I was getting a ton of leads, but they weren't really converting on a lower end thing or a back end thing. And what do you know? Now that, long story short, you know, people are telling me, oh, lead ads suck. They bring in low quality. You're telling me that these people going through these 12 sequences.
Yeah.
And the key here is once you get them into your world, you show content. Like I talked about Jeff Walker's Sideways Sales Letter. What I do essentially is they get into my world and I send them a series of emails where they consume my content about the said problem. And I start coming in at different angles. So you guys don't like think this is some crazy process. You attract the people with something of value. They come into your world. They consume your content. And if you do your job right and you show them that you could solve a level 10 problem that they have or clearly demonstrate it, and you could probably do it with a level 5 to 7 problem if you're super clear.
Yep.
If you could show them that you could solve it clearly and they believe you, you come off as ethical, confident, they're going to buy your stuff. And that was the biggest thing for me is I didn't have everything ready at the time. But once I figured everything out and everything was running smoothly, and after about a year of doing this, what do you know? People started paying for my stuff like crazy.
Yeah.
And it was because I was delivering the content that matched the confidence and level 10 skill set, level 10 problem, and all that stuff.
So when
That's why I
people,
called it offer launch.
so when people talk about like they're not confident in their offers, their imposter insecurity, usually it's because they don't have their problem defined enough. Is that what I'm
Yeah.
picking up?
Yeah. So problem defined enough, like first of all, and then what I also show people is like really different than what a lot of people. So I would say it's a level 10 hook, however you want to call it. Like I show you how to generate leads without some big scary offer.
Yeah.
It's an anti-guarantee. So I show you how to generate leads without a big scary offer, and it's pretty much anti-guarantee. And then they're gonna also like down the road want to buy from you essentially. Yeah. That's kind of like my angle. And it like people are like, you have an offer that's not a guarantee and they want to like buy from you. Yeah.
So that's that was desired, right?
Correct.
Now you're just saying, hey, take a next step. And they're like, that's all they want. Like they don't want a huge transformation. They don't want their money back. Like, I just want to learn how to do this thing. And it sounds like simply because you're not saying, hey, it's $4,500 or we'll risk reverse, like just the ad by itself simply funnels and attracts the correct person. Yep. Because you have a clear message or something like that. If you put out an ad that said like, hey, learn how to do this for $4,500, refund you money, that same person would turn into a bad relationship. But simply by changing the ad stuff worked. Is that right?
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep. You got to have a strong hook too, obviously. You know what I mean? Something that is like different. And you also have to be real and ethical. And nobody really talks about this. But I think what happens is a lot of people have an offer they feel is strong, they know is strong, right? But when they present it, there's something consciously coming off that's like shady. Mm-hmm. And it's just, they're not matching. And I really don't have any proof, but I've kind of gone through this myself. And I think like the way you like talk about your product service and people over position themselves and it just like makes them look weak. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine like you're standing over the customer with content being like, I'm going to get you 30 million customers a month for $1 and you can spend $3 on ad. And it's like, that's what it's like. And it's just not believable. You know what I mean?
So you got to really have to come in humble, understood, say no to a lot of stuff and just say, the only thing we're going to do is we're going to solve this one needed in desire problem and nothing else.
Yeah. And I mean, there could be, without dragging this on, but there could be there's probably an agency offer out there that would work without even having to run ads or something like that. Like I guarantee you, like that's what I would do starting over. I would look at, okay, what are the problems of all these agencies? What are they not covering? What
Yeah.
can I do? Like, even if it's following up with comments and charging $500 a month just for people to follow up with comments, like I'll place a VA, 500 a month. We'll follow up and sell by chat.
Yeah. So that type of like half of an idea is so hilariously powerful, because the premise of that is like, you already understand the problems. You're like, I know that this is the problem. The easy solution is this. All of a sudden they're like, oh, is that it? That's pretty easy. I'll just buy that right now. And 2 days later, Amazon shows up. My door is like, hey, here's your VA. It's $500 a month. All they'll do is say, this is it, right? By the way, that was the deep-seated underlying understanding with the past 18 months of my agency, which is, hey, Mr. Dentist, I know you don't want leads. I know 90% of them are bad. I get it. Your front desk is too busy. You don't want training. You don't want any of that. All you want is someone to run the ads, make sure the price is in them, get that guy on the phone and have your front desk vet him. You don't even want to put in the CRM. You don't want any of that. You just want your phone to ring, right?
Yep.
You got it. And that live transfer model was so in demand that we were profitably acquiring customers. It was a 20-minute sales call. 80% of the time, they're like, all right, you want a credit card now? The guy's at the gym, give me his credit card. No demo. Right? And it sounds like, as a good business owner, as a good offer owner, you just have to understand what your target market wants. Nothing else. And what you've learned to do is, you're running an ad with your OLF model, running an ad saying, hey, if you want this, join the group. Watch some of the videos. And if you're comfortable enough with me, you deeply believe I'm not going to screw you over, and you want to spend some money, and you're willing to pay for it, here's an opportunity to spend some money with me. And then you sold a digital product, a course, a coaching, a solution, a done for you, anything like that. Is that right?
Yep. And to kind of add to that, what's kind of interesting is, you've heard of self-liquidating offers, like one of our agency, basically, we do that. I don't necessarily lead with a self-liquidating offer, but it is most definitely a delayed self-liquidating offer. I don't get the money right there, but within 30 to 60 days, it's going to be there. So that's by the way I look at it.
Well, I'm running a pricing guide advertisement right now, and it's working because A, people want to know how much they charge, and B, because I'm measuring ROI on 30, 60, 90 days.
Yep.
So I'm not having a freak out when like my cost per lead goes up $3, $5, $10. I go, it's fine, right? Sure. I don't ever freak out if the leads are bad. I'm going, are we tracking 30, 60, 90-day ROI?
Yep.
That's the only thing that matters. And it's feeling very much like a real life business, instead of, when you're not on skool.com, you're on school, like you're getting pulled in many different directions. Like the offer of the pricing guide doesn't feel like I'm being pulled in a million different directions. And it's really cool in this like final evolution of agency, which is like full offer owner, man, from beginning to end. It's really darn cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's a cool journey.
Cool. We've got 3 minutes left. If anybody's got any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or ideas, feel free to ask now or forever hold your Reese's Pieces. But in summary, doing that now. I'm trying to be funny. I'm wearing a Campbell shirt t-shirt. Okay. So start out, dad's attic, building out that skill set, level 1 skill set, level 1 opportunity, level 1 everything. And you can't see the problems that need to be solved because you effectively don't have the words or deep, meaningful understanding. You're throwing keys at a car and saying, see, I told you it doesn't run, right? You're building up your skill set, still working in a level 1 opportunity, flustered, frustrated. And after a while, you realize, hey, man, it's not me. I just happen to be stuck in a level 1 skill set opportunity. Change the opportunity. And now all of a sudden, you had your make or break, everything works. From there, once you understand, you need you need to understand what they deeply want, that they desire, and they want to pay for it. All of a sudden, your business just kind of works, and you can have a virtual assistant, you can have bots, you can have funnels, it doesn't matter. You have that, you have a profitable agency really darn quickly. And then you can just have fun running ads, putting people in a group, knowing that you're going to get 30, 60, 90-day ROI. This is a darn cool
Exactly.
dude. Yeah, man.
Appreciate you.
Aaron Bray says, such a good reminder, like Jeff says, as a freshman, you don't need senior level problems. Yeah, man. Just focus on being a good freshman. Very cool. My last question for you is, if there's one thing that somebody should take away from this interview, like that deeply and dramatically changes their career for the better.
Yeah.
Like, what's that takeaway? What's that one thing? It's like, hey, man, this is going to set you right for the next 1, 2, 3 years.
The biggest no matter what problem you're solving, no matter what offer you're solving, no matter what it is, people are not going to hear about you if you're not in front of a camera making content.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest, most important thing you could do is get in front of a camera, start talking about the problems and solutions you offer, and start posting them. If I've done it consistently the last 6 months, and it's absolutely changed my life.
Yep.
And where I go look back at every successful person, like my partner Jeff Lopez, um, our agency is very successful a lot of times because he is on camera. So get your ass on camera, start talking about stuff, and just do it. That thing will literally change your life with no complicated funnel or anything. Till this day, I still actually the funnel that I used literally had a picture.
Mm-hmm.
It had a gradient background with the 3 bullet points, and it pretty much said "buy my thing." Ugliest funnel ever. It's not about the funnel. It's about the desire that you amplify and harness.
Yeah.
So if you just get in front of the camera, talk about the problem, so show how to solve it, your life will absolutely change.
Fucking love it, man. Don't hang up. We'll debrief in a bit. Everybody, Joshua F. Centers. Always a pleasure, my man. See you, everybody. Peace.